Right. I'm hoping that this is working okay. It is now 8 o'clock. So I'm Mark Harrison and I'm going to do about an hour's set here for Fine City Blues, where you're on their page, so you know that. And I'm not, today I don't seem to be in a position to check whether it's all working, so there is a possibility I could do lots of this into the darkness. And it's a fraught business doing these live streams, and I've seen people saying that you should have been straight out the traps with the arrival of this virus and getting yourself a whole lot of software and film technique and cameras and stuff like that. And I guess pretty soon it's going to be that you can't perform music unless you've got Martin Scorsese around your house. But I'm not in a position to do that. So just got to hope for the best here. And I might give it another check in a minute to see if it's working. So thank you for watching, and hope you enjoy what I'm going to do. I should be playing in Norwich tonight, and unfortunately, of course, that can't happen. And at the moment, with the latest news on all of this, it's pretty strange that we don't know really what's going to happen about the music world and doing gigs, because it would appear that at the moment you can do more or less everything apart from gigs, and it seems that apparently you can't do gigs because you can't have live performance. You can open theatres, but nobody can actually be on the stage at this point in time, because if you have actors and singers, they will be a danger with their mouths. Actually, I've come across a number of singers who should have had a government health warning slapped on them years ago, but so it would appear that you can't sing because of what comes out of your mouth, and you can't do acting as well. So I've been giving this a little bit of thought, and I think the future lies for me in developing an act as a ventriloquist. That seems to be the best way of appearing on stage. So instead of investing in expensive camera equipment, I'm going to be getting a doll and shoving my hand up its bottom. So Fine City Blues in Norwich is run by Dave Thomas and Steve Morphew, fine quality people giving you quality music. And I think in the current circumstances that we should all start one of those petitions on change, or whatever it is, you know, those things that absolutely have a massive effect on what goes on. And I think we should have a petition that Dave and Steve should be at the very centre of the SAGE Scientific Advice Committee panel, and then we'd have gigs back in no time. Now, my thing tonight is that I'm going to do all songs of mine that are 12 bars, and before anybody decides to count them, they are pretty much all 12 bars. And this is a blues club, and seems appropriate to do that, and I have some of my songs are 12 bars, many are not. And just by way of introduction, I would say that 12 bar format for blues is recognisable by most people, I guess, as being what blues is about, but in fact you'll find very little of the original early music that's in that actual format. I once saw Alexis Corner deliver a fantastic talk on this subject, Illustrated, and he was, among other things, demonstrating how few of the original artists actually did 12 bar format, and some of the later ones, like John Lee Hooker, did basically no bar format. You had to sit and wait to see when the guy was going to change chord. And in the early music, which they probably didn't necessarily think of as blues, it's a lot of the songs are much more like folk songs. They didn't follow that format hardly at all. It was just one of the tools of the trade. And it occurs to me that the 12 bar format really got established with rock and roll, and perhaps principally with Chuck Berry. And once rock and roll was up and running in the mid-50s, that became the standard format, ironically, of blues music, which otherwise used all kinds of different configurations, albeit of the same 3 chords. So when I started out, I decided that I would do blues type music, but not all of the songs I've written are in that format, but here are a bunch that are. And I wanted to demonstrate that you could write blues songs about anything. There was no need for them to be in kind of stereotypical lyrics of a world that none of us know anything about, much less have experience. So my thing has always been to write songs about all kinds of different topics and do them loosely in blues format. So these are a bunch of tunes that do employ the 12-bar format. Of course, the 12-bar format, having started with rock and roll, really came into its own with rock music, I suppose, and to be fair, was done primarily by white people and still has been. And you only have to look at one of the early classics of that form, Statesboro Blues by the Allman Brothers, which bears no resemblance to the non-12-bar song it's actually claiming to be, by Blind Willie McTell. But the 12-bar format's really good for jams, and all power to it, I say. So the first song I'm going to do is called The Demon Drink. It's a 12-bar on the 12 string. This song is about booze. It's a cautionary tale about what can happen if you give up booze. And it's a cautionary tale about what might make you give up booze. Quite a lot of my songs have blues phrases in them. I'm very much attracted by the vocabulary and the general language used by those people, and I have nicked a few phrases, to be fair. And there's one in this song where we might talk about being dead pissed or something like that, or any number of phrases that we employ. They had a much better one. They would talk about being sloppy drunk. That seems to me to do the job. So here's the song. It's got that phrase in it, and it's called Demon Drink. Do you want a drink? Yeah, well that's okay. Me, I'm going down the Temperance Way. Used to drink so much I would roll and sway, talk a lot of crap and feel sick all day. Well, now the demon drink will take your pain away, but there's a price to pay. Ain't that a shame? From the dawn of time to the present day, people been drinking the blues away. Now it does the job, it does the trick. It'll sort things out and it'll sort them quick. Now the demon drink will take your pain away, but there's a price to pay. Ain't that a shame? You can get sloppy drunk and that's okay, but you might just cross the line one day. Then people talk, people stare, they say, hey, you know you got a problem there. Now the demon drink will take your pain away, but there's a price to pay. Ain't that a shame? blues and it'll clear your head. You'll remember everything you did and said, yeah. It'll clear your mind, it'll make things real. Then you really know how bad you feel. Now the demon drink will take your pain away, but there's a price to pay. Ain't that a shame? Now the demon drink will take your pain away, but there's a price to pay. Ain't that a shame? Nice long note at the end on the 12 string. I hope I'm there. I don't know if I am, but I won't keep banging on about that. Not much I can do about it. I'll just have a quick look and see if anything arises. No, I can't see the page at all, unfortunately, so I can't know. Alright, whatever. Alright, next song I'm going to do is called Passing Through. It's not one I've done very often, and I'm planning to put it on the next album, so I better try and get it right. It's about being an observer. It's another 12 bar. It's about being an observer in life, and to a large degree I think I am. And you could say that, well, we once had a harmonica player, Will, who told me one day that he thought that real songwriters, real ones, write songs because that's how they see the world, through the songs. And that's completely true of me. On the street of 1,000 souls, there are so many stories told. It's all come and go. Oh, there's Mr. So-and-so, but I don't know who is who, 'cause I'm only passing through. On the street of the broken hearts, oh, they bring out their dead in cars, victims of events, cruel women and faithless men. I don't know which is true, 'cause I'm only passing through. Town where the cold winds blew, see the work of the wrecking crew. Better days gone by, oh you know it's a sorry sight, but it's just a fleeting view, 'cause I'm only passing through. On the station of crossing lines, see the girl with the crying eyes, message that she read, I wondered what it said, but then the whistle blew, and I was just passing through, and I was just passing through. Next 12-bar song of mine is called Rediscovery Blues. This is on the latest album, which is called The Panoramic View. There are various links to me that you can see, I hope. My website's www.markharrisonrootsmusic. You can buy albums there, and there's a link to contribute some money if you'd like to support this music in that way. That would be most welcome. This song is about the rediscovery of the original early blues artists that took place in the 1960s after they'd been missing in action for about 30 years. And this is imagining what it must have been like, or may have been like, for them to have spent 30 years not doing any music, and then suddenly there is literally a knock on the door and some white kid filled with enthusiasm turns up and gets them to come and do a bunch of nice gigs for some decent money. And there's a few references in here that might be worth mentioning. Canned Heat is in here, not just the name of a band. The band took the name from the drink Canned Heat, which was a kind of turpentine sort of cleaning fluid that the poorer people down in the Delta would drain through muslin cloth and drink, often with catastrophic effects. There's a mention here of the Furniture Store. Many of the original artists in the 20s and 30s were recorded in a furniture store by a man called H.C. Spear, who was a talent scout for the Paramount Record Company, as they tried to launch what were then fetchingly called race records, to make records by the black artists down there for the black audience as they purchased phonograms. And there's also a reference at the beginning to the constant tension these people felt between blues and gospel music, as blues was largely considered the devil's music. So here's the song, Rediscovery Blues. Got the devil's music in one ear, got a gospel tune saying come over here. Been driving a mule and a tractor too, forgetting about what I used to do. I've been keeping my head down, nobody knows about me, and I ain't even in my directory. Came a knock on the door and it was for me. Said you gotta rediscover it. What you been doing all these years? Where have you been? Well, I just been here. You wanna talk about those old times? Was a dirty life, but I liked it fine. Some of us ain't still standing on our feet. If it wasn't the man, it was that Canned Heat. Came a knock on the door, and it was for me. They said, you gotta rediscover it. Talk about a man in a furniture store. Hey, our world ain't there no more. Thought I could play my way out of the fields. Didn't care about the rotten deal. Now somebody wants to give me back my name, and I'm ready to go. This time it won't be the same. Came a knock on the door and it was for me. They said, you gotta rediscover it. Came a knock on the door and it was for me. They said, you gotta rediscover it. Okay, so that's it on the 12 string. And I'm going to move on to my newer national. And do a 12-bar blues song about economics called The Numbers Game. And this song, as I've said before, is everything I know about economics in 3 verses. And it came from reading a book about the 1950s when in this country everybody was doing their industries and they employed whole cities, as many of you know. And nobody foresaw the complete collapse or large-scale collapse of all of that within a not terribly foreseeable future. And that is indeed what happens. Things go around in cycles, I guess, and you could never be sure that there won't be a dramatic change and that everything will suddenly change in the world of work as in any other world. And when I did this song once in London, a man pursued me afterwards asking me if he could use it, and a nice fellow, and he emailed me subsequently, and he wanted to use the title and the chorus, which is nothing stays the same when you're caught up in the numbers game. And it turned out he wanted to use these in a report he was writing, and I said fine, and he did, and acknowledged me and everything, absolutely no complaint about that. But my song says that everything is completely unpredictable. Nobody knows, nobody ever foresees these things happening. And this gentleman was employed in the capacity as senior analyst at an organisation called Standard & Poor, which are top of the tree economists. And some of you may recall that when the crash happened in 2008, these economists all queued up to say they hadn't seen it coming. In fact, not a single one of them did. Which raises some interesting questions, I guess, and makes one mindful of the term expert, which is bandied about. And of course there are experts, but they're not necessarily to be worshipped at the feet of, since very often they don't know nothing. So here's the song, Numbers Game, everything I know about economics in 3 verses. Oh, you used to make watches, oh, you used to make cars, all lined up in the factories, dirty jobs in the yards. But then boom, turned to slum. Nobody thought that the day would come. But nothing stays the same when you're caught up in the numbers game. Oh, your work ruled the land, oh, your work ruled the town. Oh, no one saw it coming when the whole thing crashed down to a slum from a boom, from a classy hotel to a flophouse room. Nothing stays the same when you're caught up in the numbers game. earning a living. Oh, next day you're dirt poor. Oh, they want what you're doing, and they don't want it no more. You're no use to anyone, just like a mule with its shoulder gone. Nothing stays the same when you're caught up in the numbers game. Nothing stays the same when you're caught up in the numbers game. Nothing stays the same when you're caught up in the numbers game. That was that one. It remains strange doing this type of thing, especially when you have no idea if it's visible. Still, as I have often said, futility is a good friend of mine. I'm going to do a song now. Actually, I'm just going to have one quick check to see if I can see anything on the Fine City Blues page, which I think I probably can't. No, indeed I can't. Oh well. Onward. I'm going to switch this off. Next song is called Hard Work. It's another 12 bar, in case you've forgotten the unifying force of this show. That song, by the way, Numbers Game, its sort of Blues World reference there was just like a mule with its shoulder gone. And they used to use mules when they were in the levee camps building the levees on the Mississippi. And if a mule's shoulder went, they shot it, because it was no use no more. Hard Work's about just that, about having hard work's worth pointing out. I mean, this song's really was written in mind of those people and the fact that they were allegedly free, but in many ways weren't really free, and still had extremely difficult lives, and slavery was essentially exchanged for something not totally dissimilar. And I wouldn't want to draw parallels with our own lives, but fact remains, and it's become, perhaps it's become a little bit more central in recent times, that there are tons of people out there who don't work in offices, in close proximity to a coffee machine. And there are lots of them out there, and they don't necessarily get much in the way of valuing and appreciation. And they should. There are lots of people doing jobs much more valuable than go on in the average office, in my opinion. Just waiting for Martin Scorsese to ring the doorbell. Okay, here's the song, Hard Work. say. But it's killing someone somewhere every day. Well, now some people doing hard work, but they're only getting by. Some people doing nothing, but they're doing fine. Hard work, it's a crying shame. Doing all that hard work, and it doesn't pay. Well, I'm getting oh so tired, wanna lay down on the floor. Been doing all that hard work, don't wanna do it anymore. Hard work, it's a killing me. And I heard somebody saying that we all are free. Now some people, they get lucky, I don't know how it goes that way, but the rest, they gotta do it, keep on doing it every day. Hard work, it's a crying shame. Doing all that hard work, and it doesn't pay. Could stop now, I wish I could go home, but it's really not an option. Gotta keep on pushing that stone. Hard work, it's a killing me. And I heard somebody saying that we all are free. Hard work, hard work, never kill no one, that's what they say. But it's killing someone somewhere every day. Okay, I'm now going to move on to my other national, the old one, the National Trojan, that was made in 1934, for the remainder of this set, which is another few songs. And the first one I'm going to do on that guitar is called Highgate Hill Blues, excitingly named after a place in London. Very few blues songs have English place names in them for, I think, very good reasons. That basically nothing about this country is cool when compared with the blues world of America, I would suggest. Though I live here, I have absolutely no intention of ever writing the Chipping Norton Blues. It's been very hot here today. I might put a bit of light on, I don't know, do I need some light? Hold on. Let's get a bit of light going as it's a little bit dark here. Okay, that's probably freaked out the camera, so I might have to hope that nothing goes wrong with that. Now, Highgate Hill Blues is something that occurred to me while sitting at the top of Highgate Hill and looking down at the city below. Previously, if you get an old map of London from 1600s or something, there was nothing between the merchant class living up in Hampstead and the great unwashed who were rolling around in turmoil down by the river, doing whatever the great unwashed did in those days, having scurvy and stuff like that. And it occurred to me that it's still a seething mass of turmoil down there. It's a different kind of turmoil, perhaps equally unpleasant, filled with people doing all sorts of apparently worthy jobs under extreme pressure. And I had my little boy, as he was then, with me, and I was thinking about what lay in store potentially for people in the future if you looked at the workplace. The workplace, as I suspect, if anything, got even worse, although it's filled with declarations of transparency and general loveliness by organisations. I suspect that there's never been more bad behaviour to be had than there is in the modern workplace. So the song is essentially an entire worldview in a 12-bar blues format. Sitting up on Highgate Hill, bouncing up and down on his lap. He's much too busy to be still. There's a story about this place, son, if I don't tell you, no one will. Hey little boy, don't look down there, it's really not a pretty sight. But there's not an awful lot of light, and the meek are getting stomped on while the nutters are all winning the fight. Well, hey little boy, if you get lucky, one day all of that could be yours. You'll be running down the alleys, you'll be racing down the corridors. The machine's got every button, but you're not allowed to press the one marked pause. You just do it, you gotta look as though you like it too. Well, hey little boy, don't you worry, I got no reason to complain. But what people put together, it sure next song is a 12 bar. I hope that you are recognizing that you can do all kinds of different things so that hopefully no two songs sound the same. If I'm not demonstrating that, then I'm in big trouble. Looking forward to someone going, "That was 13 bars in that one." That'll be Dave Thomas, I reckon, who's been at home counting. Okay, the next song is called Sneaking Away. It's about the life of a man called David Honeyboy Edwards, who was himself a Mississippi Delta blues artist who lived a very long life and died 10 years ago in his 90s, still out there doing gigs and talking about his book, telling the stories from his book, which is called The World Don't Owe Me Nothing. Fantastic book, and you should read it. It's not really about blues music, it's about all the people in their world and the extraordinary things that were considered normal down in the Mississippi Delta in the 20s and 30s and onward. And I guess, the story I've taken for this song really is a sort of snapshot from what he talks about there, where he's often having to run under cover of darkness because he's attracted the attention of white people in a given place, and therefore his life's in danger. And this was commonplace, that if you were a black man down in that place, you were in permanent danger. You just had to look accidentally in the wrong direction. And I suppose, though far be it from me to comment on a country I don't live in, it does seem to me that in many ways a lot of this stuff hasn't changed. Got out of bed, didn't make a sound, packed up my clothes and I tiptoed around, took one last look at where I used to lay. Coming up day and I'm sneaking away. When I hit that dirty street, there was no one else around. Heard a rooster cry, I thought I heard a church bell sound, but it didn't mean a thing. It was not the time to pray. Coming up day and I'm sneaking away. Can't stick around, can't stay and fight. I have my warning to get out of sight. There's been some trouble, but I'm not the one to blame. Coming up day and I'm sneaking away. Might walk the road, might hop a freight, can't hang around till it's too late. When the hounds come calling, oh, there'll be hell to pay. Coming up day and I'm sneaking away. Okay, the next song is called In the Neighbourhood, and this is based on the idea, again it's 12-bar, again and parallels with life down in the Mississippi Delta at the time when all this music was being invented. As you probably know, they had things like medicine shows where people rolled into town on wagons to sell the gullible population their magic potions, claiming that these would cure them of more or less anything, from plague to hemorrhoids and all points in between. And obviously this stuff was all used as crap. And it seems to me that every era has its equivalent of the medicine show. Shyster, we might call them spivs. It's my contention that we've been run by spivs for quite some time. But they come in different guises now, and I know that it's extremely offensive to mention some of the guises that they might come in, because you might be one. But it seems to me that growth industries have certainly included the field of management, which claims to know how to do things, including run organisations it knows nothing whatsoever about, and is characterised by shocking behaviour. It seems to me that anyone in life coming up, what kind of job can you get? If someone offers you a nicely paid job to spout jargon, why not take it? It's not your fault. That job exists, but I would just venture that you remain responsible for your own behaviour. I don't really pay much attention to politicians. I don't think that they're really the game in town at all, because they're not the people running things. So here's my little view, a 12-bar blues called In the Neighbourhood. Well, there are spivs on every street here, there are charlatans galore. They're out there peddling potions and shouting praise the Lord. And there's a fool round every corner who thinks this stuff's for real, and it's too late when they find out they got stiffed on the deal. Oh, things don't look so good in the neighbourhood. You know, deadbeats run the show here. You can't say that they're corrupt. It's not that they're too honest, they're just not bright enough. And there's a boss there in his office, keeping everyone away. God knows what he does there, but he's in there every day. Oh, things don't work so good in the neighbourhood. They don't come my way for sure. Who the hell came up with that system of reward? And there's people who say it's alright, cause for them it grows on trees. But the ones who are really paying are the saps like you and me. Oh, that's all understood in the neighborhood. Now the whole damn place is rotten, but nobody lifts a hand. You could buy their souls if they had them for a lousy couple of grand. And people keep on talking about how much things have changed. Well, the faces might be different, but the picture's still the same. So don't look under the hood in the neighborhood. going to do a handful more, and the next one is called Long Long Way to Go. It's another 12 bar. This is about people principally going to London to follow their dream, go for it, and all the things that people advise them to do. I'm not sure it's always good advice. But they head down to London. Or up to London from the place they've come to regard as unspeakably dull. And they go up to London, reinvent themselves, come back. And everyone who knows them about where they came from goes, oh, he's a right wanker now, isn't he? And one of the interesting features of this is that people who go there and love it say, oh, it's great in London because it's so big and anonymous. And when they get a bit older, if they're still there and they've succeeded in following that dream, which often these days appears to be a career in accountancy, nothing wrong with that, they start saying, oh, it's great where I live in London, it's just like a village. Sitting by the roadside, watching the cars go by, sneaking out the back door, checking the world outside. Up and running, it was a long, long time ago. Leaving small town living, it was a bright clear morning. Talking about a dream now, never did hear no warning. On your way now, and such a long, long way to go. Flat down in the alley, you're going nowhere, slow down. Scraping off the dust now, you're on a backward journey. Mean old world now, and such a long, long way from home. Think back where you came from, it doesn't seem so bad now. Think about tomorrow, knowing you can't go back now. Keep on going, there's still a long, long way to go. Now you won't go through the motions, you'll never keep your head down. You I'm going to do one more song now in the 12-bar format. Thank you very much. I hope this has come across okay without glitches or disappearances. I'm only going to find out later. If you have enjoyed it, please contribute. As we can't do any gigs at the moment, pending the appointment of Dave Thomas and Steve Morphew to the SAGE committee. I will be back in Norwich, hopefully, as soon as it's possible. As well as being all over the rest of the places that the band, have not been able to play. Same as everyone else, of course. Website www.markharrison.com. No, markharrisonrootsmusic.com. What am I talking about? www.markharrisonrootsmusic.com. The last song I'm going to do is 12-bar called John the Chinaman. It's about the Chinese workers who built the Transcontinental Railroad in the 1800s, and who the Americans called all of them John the Chinaman because they didn't know their names, couldn't pronounce their names, couldn't read their names. And these workers carried out a phenomenal feat because one of the heads of the railroad bet his counterpart $10,000 that they could build 10 miles of track in one day. And never been done anything like that, and they did it and completed the railroad in so doing. As a result, this was carried out by 3,000 Chinamen and 8 Irishmen who were in charge of the 3,000 Chinamen. I'm kind of about to sneeze. Afterwards they had a celebration parade in the city of Sacramento to honour the 8 Irishmen. The 3,000 Chinamen who did the heavy lifting didn't get a look in, and it occurred to me that of course that's the sort of thing that goes on all the time still, always has, always will, but some people do the hard work, going back to the song I did on that, while other people may reap the rewards. So thank you for watching. Please do buy an album. I've done songs from pretty much, I've done songs from all my albums. I've got 5 studio albums and a live album. We're planning to record a new one as soon as possible in the next month or 2. Please have a look at the website, check out what I'm doing. When it comes back, make sure you support Fine City Blues in Norwich, who put on fantastic things and are well worth supporting. So here's my last song. Bossman said, I want you to lay 10 miles of track in a single day. Wanna win my bet, it's never been done. It's gonna amaze everyone. Those workers are second to none, but I don't know the name of a single one. Do 15 hours in the sun and be no one like John the Chinaman. They started out with the rising sun, and one day that job was done. Laying that metal down the line, everybody moving right in time. Those workers are second to none, but I don't know the name of a single one. Do 15 hours in the sun and be no one like John the Chinaman. marks, they get praised. For them there is the grand parade. Do 15 hours in the sun and be no one like John the Chinaman. Do 15 hours in the sun and be no one like John the Chinaman. Do 15 hours in the sun and be no one like John the Chinaman. Do 15 hours in the sun and be no one like John the Chinaman. That's it, thank you for watching. I've done a whole show of 12-bar blues songs, and I hope that you found them interesting and varied, different topics, different sounds. And I hope it shows what variety you can do if you want to be original in blues music. Thank you.